So it's been a few weeks since the tragic car crash that involved Anthony Joshua and two of his team members, who sadly passed away. The first being his coach Sinner and his personal trainer that went by the name Latz. So obviously these were very close friends of his, and I just wanted to address things that happened during the time of the incident, and then things that followed afterwards. So the first thing I want to talk about is just the public reaction to the incident. So the car was going at such high speeds that upon impact, it tore off a chunk of the car. And Anthony Joshua is visible because of this. And you'll see pictures now that I'm going to show you of where he appears to be unconscious. Now, allegedly, he was unconscious for 10 minutes. And the sad fact we have to accept in this new modern era is that humanity and dignity come second. The public's first reaction is let's take some videos. Who can get the best footage, of what appears to be the worst scenario. The more worse a scenario is, the more likely people's first thoughts are going to be, what can I get? You know, which is sad. And I'm not gonna act like I'm a perfect person, but it's kind of disgusting. I don't think I could ever try and see what I benefit from someone else's horror or freak accident, because this is not the first case where these incidents happens where it's people's first thought is, let me take out my phone. Health, dignity, humanity is coming second or sometimes even third. For me, I never went out of my way to see the how the victims' bodies are. We'll use their names, Sinner and Lat's bodies. You know, but I was aware that it was being posted and publicized all over Twitter. So you can't only just say and focus, oh, but these were people of Africa. You and I both know we don't know what's normal over there. But when it came to our waters, we, I wouldn't say we, but the public spread it. These are now not, they're not humans anymore. They're just clips. They're just for show. They've been dehumanized for something else, and I think that was a sad thing that has come out of this. That's a stark reminder of how kind of desensitized we are becoming, and the new currency is virality. Who's the proprietor of who got that footage? I did. This. Who can get it out there? It's like these invisible points that we're desperate to get, and yeah, it was just sad. And then this directly links to my next point, which is AI. So, upon my research into this tragedy, I came across this picture which shows the trajectory of the car and which side hit where on the truck. And I was so shocked by how fast this image came out that it started to make me think about how fascinated or shocked people were by this topic, that when there's a demand or there's an interest, things happen very fast like that. And I noticed that this was one of those shocking things for everyone, that it was spreading like wildfire, the news, the clips and everything. And looking at this picture and looking at how um, desperate people were to just see even the corpses of Sinner and Latz, that it got me thinking, how long will it be until the wrong people start using AI to recreate these tragedies? Because from the moment this happened, the virality of it, I can't remember the last time something like this happened, and it just got me worried and sad by what people were willing to do when they were actually there on the scene with the real subjects of the tragedy. how, how long will it take until you start to get footages where it's recreated? And I think I understand that, when you, history has to be told, and that's fine, but there's a way to do it with dignity, morality, and making sure these people still have their humanity in some sense when you tell these stories. And I just don't feel like this is going to happen. When I look at how shocking some of the clips were, or were described to be, I don't see why people would then reserve some humanity when they can recreate things through AI and animations. And the problem is usually the right, say corporations, entities have access to these types of tools, so it's always released in moral standard ways. But I feel like AI is a tool that will always be accessible to the wrong people, and soon we'll start to see things like this recreated by the wrong people, and it will just desensitize us even more. And then soon we will just become more detached from humanity and victims and forget that these people are people's loved ones. And I just feel like it's not going to be long before this happens. And that brings me to talk about the last topic, which is AJ himself. Now, a lot of people, I feel like, don't actually see this or know this, that the AJ you see in these press conferences, interviews, is the mask he wears. And if you paid attention long enough, you see his shadow self appear through sometimes. And I think it's this, his ability to suppress this is not going to be the same as it was before. And I don't believe he's going to quit boxing. And for some of you who are confused on that, let me just show you this confrontation even between him and Brazil. Dominic Brazil. Brazil. Sorry, I might butcher that.
You say? Don't stand around like you're going to do something to me, trust me, I'm going to do nothing. Trust me.
Eddie, what we doing? We starting it up? Or?
Listen, that belt's behind me, I'm not interested.
Now look at some of the things he's saying to Dominic here, and how he strips away the pageantry, breaks the illusion of what boxing is. The silent contract both fighters have when they're building up this, and brings it down to the primal level. These comments that he's saying shows this shadow self that who AJ really is. Think of it like animals in a jungle where it's life or death.
The problem's in front of you.
Man to man.
It's not a problem, it's trouble.
Good.
You got some.
Good. Don't talk and don't back up like the rest of your Americans.
We'll see. You better bring it, man.
Eddie,
Not like the rest
more
of
in
the
this
Americans.
heater though, man. Because it's not about doing something. Let's show some respect standing in front of me.
Oh, I respect you, man. You stand to get the belt.
It's not about the belt. I
After I
told
beat
you,
you.
don't stand there like you're going to do something to me. I don't care about the belt. Man to man, show some respect. Stand in front of me like you're going to do me something. You're not about that life. You're not about that life.
Look, listen to that. Look at the eye contact he's giving Dominic. What type of person says you're not about that life? These are usually used, the people who use these types of phrases in the modern day are usually killers, gangsters, so-called thugs, and he's giving direct eye contact. There's something more like I'm saying to AJ that people don't realize when it comes to things. There's the corporate version of AJ, and then there's the real person. And there's plenty of these videos out there that will prove my point here. I'll give you one more.
Remember you're running him up, because when I bring people up here and I start cracking your glass jaws, none of you will like it. When your jaws start breaking, people start chasing you out of this uni, none of you will like it. Watch your mouth, because you don't know who you're talking to sometimes. I know, listen, all that public eye bullshit, I ain't into all that.
You can debate who's in the right or wrong for that clip, but for me, that's not the point. You hear AJ himself dismiss the label of this public eye, how he calls it bullshit. And that leads me to believe how I predict AJ will become in the near future is that he's definitely going to fight. He sees himself as a warrior. You can hear him mention this many times in interviews. But the difference is now is that he just won't have the peace of mind to keep the mask on anymore. His shadow self's going to pour out, and this will come now with more aggressional little outbursts. You'll hear him say these little more speeches with more like coldness, taking it almost to a primitive jungle level conversations. And I feel like he's going to completely break the illusion of the persona he's had or been carrying that people have adored for the past few years. With these small exceptions, a lot of people confused it with just boxing being a warrior, but deep down I feel like AJ is more lower than not jungle level, but almost thug level, almost that type of character. You like the Peaky Blinders. how Tommy portrays himself as this politician, but we all know exactly how down and dirty he gets. It's the same for Empower, Ghost character. Like they can be one thing, but deep down you see who they truly are, and that's what's gonna happen with AJ. You're gonna see almost how we know who Tommy is and how we know who Ghost is from Power, and I think it's just gonna be a really dark and a bit more sinister types of press conferences and interviews and conversations, and he's going to pull away a bit from the public because this tragedy is a bit too much, and definitely without them, and he will fight again. I promise you this, he will fight again 100% because he sees himself a warrior, and he almost takes it upon himself, you know. In this recent interview that he released in his first conversation with the public, he describes himself as a warrior. You know, warriors, general, lieutenants.
Became lieutenants, we became generals, we became everything. We became.
It's not the mind of a man who's not going to fight again. But I tell you this, it's completely changed him, and he won't be able to keep up that mask he's had for all these years. So I predict it'll be a more dark, cold version of AJ that's always secretly been there, but amplified. So hopefully no one really says stupid shit to him, because you'll see it crack. You'll see him crack very quickly, I believe. And it'll be interesting to see how Eddie Hearn sits next to him in the first press conferences, because Eddie will obviously be aware of this a lot quicker than most.